Are you in the Tom Brady class? Are you in that type of quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, I consider myself in that class.
The Wheelhouse.
The opposite question is, who's the best quarterback in that division?
Is it Eli Manning?
I think you have to say Eli Manning.
And it was hard. I remember taking a walk with my dad and mom around the block. It was just a tough day, you know?
Break it down, Cos.
How dare you?
Holy flying Not much to talk about here. Would you not give your left nut to be a quarterback on that team?
The Wheelhouse. Sunday NFL wrap-up with Bauer.
That team is right now destined for the shit pile.
And the sweet, nasty Chris Cause.
It's a victory for my ego, baby.
Welcome, everybody, to yet another Sunday night edition of the Wheelhouse here at wheelhouseradio.com. Thanks for tuning in. I am Bauer.
I am the sweet, nasty Chris
And
Cause.
somebody's been spending a little time in the production studio, Jeff Peck.
Yeah,
So?
I did.
Very nice.
I just saw a little piece about how upset Tom Brady was about Cause turning his back on him,
Yeah,
and that's what happened.
gotcha.
Sorry.
Well, listen, we will get to all of the. I was gonna try to. I'm trying to think of the proper adjective to describe the early games today.
Bonerific?
Hold on, let me see if that's a movie that BB was in. Just a second here.
I'm going to guess something with Tebow, Phillip Rivers having a Mike Scioscia face. And,
Hold on, Mike Scioscia face is an actual movie that BB was in.
Oh, good. And the Cardinals and Rangers scoring more runs than the Browns and Seahawks did today.
Yeah, boy, there's a lot to talk about. I went to bed last night while the game was 8-6 in the World Series, and then I woke up hearing about history being made and how Albert Pujols was Babe Ruth reincarnated. And
amazing how 48 hours can just change your thought process on Albert Pujols.
Well,
I'm mad at him. He didn't answer my questions, and now I love him.
I pose this question to you: Is does that bring the Cardinals any closer to re-signing Albert Pujols?
I don't think they have a choice.
I don't think they were ever not going to sign him.
I don't think he has a choice.
You don't think he has a choice?
I think he's got a choice.
Who can afford
Oh, I
him?
think he's got a choice.
I think outside of Chicago.
First of all,
Nobody
if you're the
else will
Cardinals,
go.
just don't you give him everything he wants and then double it just for funsies?
I don't think they can afford that, but
Listen,
I don't know whether he can demand 10 years at 300.
Well,
The report that is what he wanted.
What I'm saying is you allow Mark McGwire to rename his fat little kid Pujols.
That kid's still fat, huh?
I believe, in fact, I would even say this: if I'm Anheuser-Busch, I name a beer after Albert Pujols.
Oh, that's possible.
You see what I'm saying? I give him half ownership. Do whatever the fuck. You give him everything you want. Give him everything he wants.
See, I think that's a part that's something that Major League Baseball has outlawed, but I actually think as these ridiculous salaries spiral farther and farther out of control, it was brought up back with the Joe Mauer, with that signing, with that
Right.
contract. The Twins being a small market, the only thing they need to compete is to be able to keep their own best players like Joe Mauer.
Correct.
Why wouldn't they be allowed to offer him, I don't know, a 5% stake in the team?
Right.
If you can offer him an ownership stake in lieu of, isn't that allowing you to be a little bit more of a competitive level?
And if you don't want to call it an ownership cause, couldn't it be something like on movies where you've got the back end, depending on how which by the way, back end is something that B.B. Jones started. Couldn't you give him something on on the attendance, especially if there's any sort of number of, if you have a set level, like X amount of, or 20% of last year, if there's an increase of 20%, then you get X amount of dollars, you get 10% of the back end or 5% of the back end, something along those lines in order to put asses in seats. If you, Albert Pujols, are one of the reasons that people are coming to watch the game, shouldn't there be some kind of a deal that you can put on the back end of that?
We're breaking down a collective bargaining agreement.
It is. It really is. And by the way, this is the first time we've done this on the show.
Yeah,
but nonetheless.
Although Major League Baseball's collective bargaining agreement coming up.
Yes, and right now the NBA knows nothing about collective bargaining agreements.
You noticed?
They have some bargaining.
Agreed.
I like how you
They're
try
in
to look.
rooms talking about bargaining.
I like how you try to look glass half full on that one, Cos. But
I was trying, but I don't know.
ugh.
So Albert,
You
hold
know,
on right now.
In the NFL, you had the guys who were the stars that were perfectly fine to sit out. They're, if they missed a season, they Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Michael Vick have just ridiculous, huge signing bonuses and salaries that they could just sit on.
Right.
For the guys who were just rank and file, the random linemen, both sides of the ball, your backup running backs, all of these guys who are not making it, they must have been the ones who were like, enough already. We
Right.
gotta go to work.
Right.
You don't have as much of that in basketball
No.
because you have all of those guys who are making just ridiculous, unnecessary amounts of money. They get signed by contracts that they have no business based on their ability achieving.
And can you imagine if, and I don't know how this works in the NBA, but can you imagine if your biggest stars were playing in foreign countries? Like, can you imagine if the biggest stars of Major League Baseball or the NFL were playing in, like, the Mazatlan Mustangs? You know, like, you would be shocked to shit to find out that that's what they've decided to do because they can just take that time off.
See, I don't think that the NBA thinks that that's the worst idea in the world. Is if some of their stars are out playing around the world,
Right.
and being more ambassadors of the game. And again, all that does is hurt rank and file members
Yeah.
because it's random guys who are not going out there. And Kendrick Perkins is not going out. While he may make plenty of money, he is not a big, huge superstar who is going to be making plenty of money. Playing for Italy.
Two things. One, I wish I knew who you were talking about, and two,
And he plays for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
all I say is good riddance. NBA season. Goodbye to you. Good.
Well, this is not distracting your NFL news.
I much like Patty Smythe say goodbye to you. See, now Jetpack is going to hunt that down to try to find. I'll just give you right now. It's Scandal. Goodbye to you from Scandal.
I'm working on it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
But you haven't returned since the last time the NBA locked out. So
really, honestly, since I can remember, I haven't returned to the NBA.
I was going to say before that, no?
No, not that I can.
Never.
I went back to baseball. I really honestly haven't. I did actually enjoy watching some hockey before the lockout, and I haven't gone back.
Wait, you
I've
left
really gone
baseball
back
at one time?
No. I was the guy who still paid for tickets to go see Scrubs play in San Francisco. Like I had like $9 seats down the first base line.
That was the major league team at that time.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
It was the Giants.
Well, I'm embarrassed now.
Giants.
No, that was I still went because I love the sport, because I love the game. It was fucked up to pay that kind of money and go to Candlestick Park and watch such shitty baseball being played, but I went because I love the game. Thankfully that ended, and then we had steroids, which again I'm very thankful for.
Yes. Thank you, HGH.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Which, by the way, if I can for a second, did anybody watch last night's game, the World Series? Because for a brief second after a home run, and I mean it was terribly brief, the camera panned the Cardinals dugout, and I thought to myself, wow, who's that old guy? And I realized, wait a minute, that's Mark McGwire.
That's Mark McGwire. He's their hitting coach.
He is, and he looks so gray and so thin now. Like he's less tick now.
Different.
He looks incredibly small. Not incredibly small. He's a tall guy, but he looks incredibly thin and gray. He looks feeble. And I never.
Have you seen what Barry Bonds looks like now?
I honestly haven't. I hate that fucker so much. But
he's back to like 1992 proportions.
Oh, is he? His head's not so.
His head's small again.
Wow.
It is.
Wow.
Legitimately.
While we're talking about HGH, and since it's football and baseball and all that stuff, I get one person on Twitter will always break my chops that knows I'm a Packers fan and claims that Clay Matthews is on HGH. I'm like, dude, seriously. Don't they have like really strict HGH rules now in NFL?
They just started. It was supposed to be even this week that they were going to start random HGH testing in the NFL. That was a part of the collective bargaining agreement. That was a sticking point because obviously the players didn't want random blood tests right before games. Felt as though that might weaken their performance.
They're hanging out with Manny Pacquiao too much.
So they decided no. Manny Pacquiao didn't want it 2 weeks before.
That's right. That's what it was.
Week